Welcome to this edition of the Million Dollar Mastermind podcast. This is where we pick the brains of high achievers from all walks of life and get their hard-earned, real-world insights on winning. I'm your host, Larry Weidel. I'm here talking with Justin Breen, and this is a privilege. Justin, thanks for joining me.
Larry, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about your cousin and having a cousin who hired Bill Gates and Paul Allen, and then Bill Gates, showed up to your cousin's bedside before he died, and to have that knowledge that you grew up with someone like that, and then you go from food stamps to where you are now. It's just a really interesting journey. It's an interesting journey. So I'm guessing, you've always enjoyed figuring yourself out and then talking to other entrepreneurs who have had somewhat similar journeys.
Yeah, you've dialed me in pretty well.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, my brain, most of my days talking to like ideators that are all over the place. So they're like idea. And then my brain simplifies everything into patterns and then like, oh, here's your answer. So
well,
it works.
Since you brought up Edward Roberts, he was probably the first one to point that out to me. He said, if somebody cannot explain it to you simply, whatever the subject is, it's a sign that they do not understand it.
Less is more. Is more.
In fact, he had an example on that I wish I never remember. There was some concept about the speed of a particle orbiting a planet that's orbiting another planet and how you can calibrate those things. And he said that was just the one concept I could never get until I came across this one professor. And in like 3 minutes, I understood it perfectly, And, he said that made me realize none of these other guys ever really understood the concept either.
Got it. That's so interesting. So like a brain like that, I mean, I don't know if he ever did his IQ or if you've ever done your IQ, but it had to be off the charts. 140 and above is genius. That's 1% of the population.
Right.
And most of the people I talk to they're at least 140, whether they know it or not. And then I'm 139, so it's like a bridge between genius and human. And then when you get too far above 140, then it's like I'm glad I'm 139 and not like 170, because when you're there, it's like very hard, if not impossible, to communicate with humans. It doesn't go very well.
Well, you see options, and the more intelligent, the more educated you are, the more options you're aware of in every situation, and that can lead to paralysis.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Where entrepreneurs are people that get excited, and what I always recommend is get excited, something you want to do your due diligence, but don't overdo your due diligence.
Right. Yeah.
Ask all you need is one little light through the tunnel. Mm-hmm. That you hear from, somebody else made it happen. They did this, that, and the other. Say, okay, all right, I can climb out of the cave. If I'm buried in a cave somewhere, all I need is a little light coming through somewhere, and I can go to that light. And so, Justin, congratulations, man, on all that you accomplished, and just some highlights for people. Of course, I guess your main company is BrEpic Communications, and also the BrEpic Network. Is that
yes.
your main companies right now?
I have two companies, two.
Yeah, and 20 years experience in the media industry, all kind of awards, top 25 publishing leaders under 35. But really interesting that the book you wrote, let's see, Epic Life. And by the way, we're to talk about the choice of words, epic. How to build a collaborative global companies while putting your loved ones first. Yeah. And that became a Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestseller, but also, ranked number 1 overall on Amazon Kindle, which has just got to be an astounding achievement of all the books out there. So congratulations on your literary success. But
Thank you.
you got interested early on in storytelling, writing, and journalism and communication. Where did that come from?
Well, yeah. So you understand where you come from, so you know where you are and you know where you're going. A lot of folks don't understand where they come from, so they don't know where they are and they don't know where they're going. So I was
Right.
reading Serial Winner today. Left a review. So I think you're up to
Thank you.
525 reviews now. That's good.
Thank you.
And I like how you start with don't do this, but do this. Well, that's great if you don't tell someone not to do something, but if you don't tell them what to do, then that's not good. So, and then winners conquer doubt. Okay, so that was my favorite subtitle or chapter. Winners conquer doubt. So that there's that background, right? And so like I was this person before I was born. I was just born to be this person, and I was just born with a story, and the purpose of my life is to be a connecting superhero for every visionary who shares their stories with the world. So not their world, not business owners, not consultants, only visionaries and only the world people. And so what does that mean? So when I was born, my father was 61, and my mom was 27. My father was born in 1916. He'd be 106 if he was alive now. He was a World War II hero, shot down multiple times in combat, many times without a parachute.
Wow.
Get back in the plane. Yeah, right. So that's my litmus test. Winners conquer doubt. There is no doubt in my no excuses in my family. So my dad came from nothing. I don't think there were food stamps in the early 1900s, but he was born in 1916. So Spanish flu, World War I. His parents escaped the pogroms in Russia, the Jewish pogroms, escaped slaughter. And he became an attorney in the Nuremberg trials, president of an insurance company. And he had me when he was 61. So I got all that survive and thrive. And then he gave me this wisdom and he was just happy to be alive. And he died when I was 13. So after he died, I found a diary that he had written from the Battle of the Hurtgen Forest, which was a very deadly battle towards the end of World War II. Man's Search for Meaning is #1 book ever made. My dad's diary. Some of the excerpts are in the new book, Epic Life, but that's #2. I mean, that's the #2 book if I ever publish the whole thing. So what he survived from that most horrific, like it's just worst day after worst day. And so like if ever an excuse pops into my head, like I'll go grab the diary and I read that. Okay, so that's my dad. Okay. Think about your cousin, right? Okay, so that's my dad. Okay, so then my mom, when my dad was in his late 50s, a drunk driver hit him on the highway. Drunk driver killed. Dad broke every bone in his body and survived because you figure it out. And then my mom was his nurse. So my mom was 27 when I was born. And most of my days talking to the world's top visionaries, again, not business owners, not consultants, not humans, true visionaries changing the world. I haven't met one with more hustle than my mom ever. She's the ultimate survive and thrive, the ultimate. So I'm just one plus one equals me. Here I am. And then my wife, our first date was the day before she started medical school. So don't make an excuse to me. I do not want to hear it. Winners conquer doubt. Yeah.
When did you and how in your evolution as a child growing up, how early did these things dawn on you that like
great question.
I'm in a unique situation, because that was the thing with why I got into writing the book and doing the things that I'm doing. It's like I'm sitting on a whole lot of information here.
You have all this wisdom.
Yeah, that a lot of people would like to know. And so you look for ways to get it out there, which is what you've done, and you just take what's available to you and then parlay that into the next idea that comes along. But how did it starts with an idea, it's like, boom, the light bulb's got to go on one time. When you go into a dark room, the light bulb's got to go on at once. Somebody, so where, along the way, what did occur to you?
Yeah. That's a tremendous series of questions. And most of the people I talk to, not all, but most of them, they're idea. So they're all over the place. ADHD, diagnosed or undiagnosed. It's not a disorder. It's a sign of genius mislabeled by humans, but they're all over the place. And in Strength Finders, Gallup Clifton Strength Finders, there's 34 of them. I am 32 out of 34 in ideation, 32. So I actually have very few great ideas. However, that's a strength because I know when there's one light on in a dark room, I know it's a great idea. Yeah. So I talked to all these ideators and their ideate. I'm like, no, yes. And then my top 3 strength finders are activate, maximize, achieve. So there's no overthinking, there's no overfeeling, there's execute. And so ideators who will do something about it in the present are very grateful for me. And I'm very grateful for them because they're the ones that have almost all the ideas. And then I simplify and then activate, maximize, achieve, connect.
And basically let the world know they exist. You take these rocks, throw them into the lake, and let the rippling
100%
start out. And so, why is that fun for you?
That's such a simple question, but it's so profound. It's so profound because the purpose of my life is to be a connecting superhero for every visionary who shares their story with the world. And if you're not a litmus test for the people you serve, you're a hypocrite. So I'm a visionary sharing my story with the world. So unlike ideators who have endless ideas, endless shiny objects, I have no shiny objects other than my family and then doing the purpose of my life. So I never get bored of it. I never get tired of it. And then I see my family whenever I want to. So how could anyone ever get bored with that? I don't understand. Right. I don't understand that. I just like to do what I like to do. And then I ignore and eliminate everything else from my life.
Well, what I like what you're doing in the approach and the good you've done so far, but also the good you're going to be doing going forward.
Only the beginning.
And I want you, before we go on, let me just tell you something you already know. You're going to be clobbered because, it's not an easy road to go out there and do positive things.
No. Not in my world. I ignore that world. Ignore it. I don't even look at. No. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. So I have zero business background. I still don't know what an S corp is because I think that's funny to actively not learn what that is. I don't care about business owner stuff. Confuses me. I don't understand it. And so when you're a journalist, you don't go into it for office space, revenue, employee account. That's not why you become a journalist. It's Okay. So created in first company. I was a journalist for 20 years. 20 years. So created first company based on how PR firms annoyed me for 20 years. So I have no idea what PR firms do. They just annoyed me. So I created a solution, problem solve, successful global company. Yeah. And literally every PR firm laughed, said it's never going to work. And I know things will work when people that don't have the right mindset say it's not going to work. So I just ignore those people. Now I will say, first 42 years of my life, I'm 45 now as of this recording, first 42 years of my life, I was talking to people who had no idea what I was talking about. And so the last 3, very grateful to be in 2 of the top entrepreneur groups in the world. To land the plane, they're both $25K a year US dollars to be in. I'd easily invest $50K a year because it eliminates the people that you're talking about because they would never write a check to do that. So I finally found people who understood what I was talking about in the last 3 years, and they're just the top entrepreneurs on the planet. So people like us are usually aliens within our own family community and vertical. The only people that understand us are top entrepreneurs on the planet. So it's a lonely world for a while, but once you find the right people, then it becomes an endlessly abundant world. Yeah.
Yeah. And why and what I was going to encourage you, it seems like you don't need, but that is to trust your own instincts because 100%. This is how you can't become great.
Winners conquer doubt. That's what I'm saying. All of the parts of your book that were great. I just simplified. Winners conquer doubt. That's it. Yeah. And then one of the chapters of the new book is high achievers don't like mediocre people and mediocre people don't like high achievers. I mean, so I just hang out with high achievers.
Yeah. And the reward
endless
for me doing this podcast and you doing what you're doing is constant interaction and introductions
Right.
to people that the media discards, dismisses.
I never watch the
aside.
media. I'm a journalist. I never watch the news ever. Never.
Yeah. And explain that or elaborate on that.
Oh, yeah. So again, people like us are usually aliens within our own family, community, and vertical. So we'll focus on vertical in this case, journalism. So for 20 years, I was an entrepreneur who happened to be a journalist, an entrepreneur who happened to be a journalist. So never understood negative news, never understood if it bleeds, it leads, never understood political stuff. There's one vertical that our company's only partner with the 0.1% of the population. So 8 million out of 8 billion. There's only one vertical we totally ignore, and that's politics, because it's the opposite of visionary abundance investment mindset. So it doesn't. And then entrepreneurs they'll get stuff done no matter who's in charge. That doesn't matter. And so being an entrepreneur who happened to be a journalist for 20 years, wrote about and connected cool people changing the world. So there was never anything negative. And so I didn't know what journalists who were journalists were complaining about, and they had no idea who I was talking to or why I was writing about them. And so there's been no deviation at all in terms of what PR firm does than what I did as an entrepreneur who happened to be a journalist. It's connecting cool people who are changing the world. And my brain simplifies everything into patterns. I don't know why it does that, but it does. And I talk to ideators that are all over the place, and I'm like, oh, that's bad idea, good idea, simplify pattern. And so shows like these are replacing mainstream media in terms of relevance and importance for 3 reasons, because I turn everything into a pattern. So one, the host is an entrepreneur, and you'll understand all of these very quickly. The host is not a journalist; they're an entrepreneur, so they're coming from a place of abundance, not scarcity. So a journalist who's a journalist would never think and or ask anything that you're thinking and or asking right now. Okay, so 2, you can do a deep dive on someone, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. So it's not a drive-by interview like on radio or TV where you never really get to know anybody. That's great for the mainstream masses, but not for people. Right. Okay. So 3, most important that I've seen, again, because I'm a litmus test for the people I serve. The audience might not be as large quantity-wise, but it's a far more qualified audience. So if a regular human is still listening to this show right now, I would be absolutely flabbergasted. But a high-level entrepreneur will listen. So to simplify those patterns into further simplification, shows like these are transformational and transactional platforms for entrepreneurs. That's what they are.
Thanks for listening to the Million Dollar Mastermind. If you felt there were any valuable takeaways from this episode, please take a minute and leave us a 5-star review. Your feedback is important and really helps us get the word out to a wider audience. Remember, we have a valuable webinar that is absolutely free. Register for it right now at weidelonwinning.com. Thanks for listening.